Hey everybody, welcome to Food Nerd Out of the Box. Very, very special guest with me today. You may know her from such films as Perfect Student and the girl on the billboard in Looper, Brea Grant. Brea Grant. Woo-hoo!
That was good. That was the intro. Is it so bright on my face right now? Does this look crazy?
It's a little bright.
I'm gonna fix it. Okay.
All right.
Sorry, YouTube. YouTube loves mistakes. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
All right. How's that? Is that better? Is that so better?
It's much better. That'll work. But seriously, folks, for you guys who don't know who Brea Grant is, Brea, tell us a little bit about yourself. Some things that maybe some people have actually seen you in as opposed to those.
You know what's really funny is that on my Wikipedia page for a long time, I don't know if it still says this, but it said I was in Max Payne, which I am in Max Payne, for like 1 second. And people would be like, you're in Max Payne. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea. If they said that, I'd be like, oh, you have no idea who I am. It was like a good like testing ground to like, oh, you literally never watched anything I've done. People generally know me from Heroes or Dexter.
Yeah.
Occasionally someone will be like Friday Night Lights. That's a weird one, but that was where I got my start. And Halloween 2, but that one also is kind of rare.
We talked a little bit about this. You came from a small town in Texas, which you and I both know. And what got you into film? Because this town tends to be a place where talent goes to die. So what got you out of this town and took you somewhere else?
It's not true. There are some. So I'm from. Can we say where we're from? Do you not admit where you're from?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. There are some pretty famous people from East Texas. This is where we're from. I like Lady Bird Johnson. We're from a town called Marshall, and on the square they always have these like famous people like Bill Moyers and Y.A. Tittle and like a couple other like famous people that I'm not thinking of right now. I forgot your question, but
I don't know. Okay, you grew up in a small town. What got you into doing film and took you out of here and whatnot?
Yeah, I lived there until I was 18, and I did some theater in high school, but I wasn't ever really like a theater kid per se. Like I feel like there are people who were like into theater in high school, and I auditioned for plays in high school and I never got cast, so don't give up on your dreams if that happens to you, just so you know. And then I went and left to go to school at University of Texas in Austin.
Now you didn't.
And I always knew.
Did you go for film or anything like that or no?
No. My degree is in American Studies, which is basically like American history. I have an undergrad and a master's degree, but when I started my master's, I was kind of pretty sure I didn't want to keep doing that. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I did plays in Marshall when I was a kid. Like I would do community theater, and I really liked it. And I mean, I'm talking like when I was like 5 and 6. Like I was really young, maybe until I was like 8 or 9. But then I kind of like got too cool for it or something. So I started taking acting classes, basically, and that kind of was what changed everything for me. Is I took acting classes while I was in grad school, and just like outside of it, just for fun. Oh no, I lost you. Sorry, I'm talking to you on my phone. So I lost you really good. And I just really liked it. And then I got an agent who was like, you should move to LA and see how that works out for you, just for like 6 months. And I was like, okay, I kind of hate grad school. And so I did that. That's kind of what's happened. Not a flashy story.
No. It's a good one. It gives hope to those who have lost hope in a world of sorrow. But anyway.
Well, I think there's also this assumption that like there's always that like, well, it's who you know in LA. And like, it is true. I work with a lot of my friends now, but I moved to LA and I knew 0 people. I knew no one in the film industry. When I grew up in Marshall, like I mean, it's not like I knew anybody who was an actor or a writer or anything. My dad wrote plays, but he didn't make a living doing it. And I didn't know any people who were like artists for a living. Music and stuff, and so I was friends with people who were really trying to pursue that. But yeah, I think that there's this like myth that you have to like or grow up knowing people doing that stuff, and you really don't. You just have to kind of have faith that you can do it.
A lot of it has to do with just keep building, keep doing, and keep doing what you love. So
it's totally true. It's the people like I would love to say that like the talent rises to the top, but it's almost just like the people who don't give up rise to the top. Like it's just the people who literally, I mean, there's some people who are like not that talented, but they just keep making stuff and eventually they make something people like, you know, like it's like at some point. And I think especially like in a small town, I have a lot of opinions about this because I did not have a great high school experience, and I don't feel like I learned anything in high school except like how to survive a war zone. But I mean, I think like no one encourages you to think outside of the box, and that's really like disappointing. I think people should really encourage people to do what they want to do. You know, no one ever told me I could go and make movies and be an actor.
Now, beyond just making movies and being an actor and everything, your brother and you also write comic books. Right?
Yeah.
You guys have written several series. They wrote We Will Bury You, which if you guys haven't read that, I've talked about it on the show before. Definitely read it. It's a great read. You guys also did some of the Suicide Girls things, and another one called Let's Play God. How did you guys get into doing the comic books?
My brother Zane and I have always read comic books, or he's been reading them for a lot longer than me. I've probably only been reading them since I was about 18 or 19, but we just decided, we started trying to write screenplays. This was a while ago. We were not very successful, and so we were like, well, let's write comic books. And then I was on Heroes at the time, and I met a guy named Ben Templesmith, who's a really great, like, you know, I really want to write a comic book. Can you introduce me to somebody? And he introduced me to the people at IDW. And then we just pitched it like a normal, like people do. You just write up a pitch and see if people will buy it. And they ended up buying it. So that was how we did We Will Bury You. And the other ones they kind of came to us for. But yeah, and we haven't done any in a few years, but I would like to do another one. I've been trying to get them to let me write another one.
I like that you guys go along with the horror genre type stuff. I'm a horror fan, so I like that, especially in comic books. And by the way, I saw Smothered the other day.
Oh yeah,
very very good film. How is your back holding up from all the prosthetics? Jeez.
I know. Yeah, you should explain. I have giant boobs in the movie, which was the only thing it took to get me to come do it. They were like, look, the movie is based on a woman and she is like running around smothering people with her giant boobs. And I was like, I don't have giant boobs. And they were like, no, like they're going to put prosthetics on you. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds amazing. It just seems totally ridiculous and like funny. And yeah, it was actually kind of miserable because it was South Louisiana in the summer. It was like we shot it in like August and I was wearing a full body prosthetic the whole time, you know, so it was kind of miserable, but it was fun to get to do it.
Are you looking to get more into the directing, or are you still wanting to stay with the acting, or where you want to go?
I've had to really face facts lately that I have like trouble sticking to one thing. I just started calling myself a creative person instead of like just one or the other, because I can't. It's hard for me to stick to one thing, especially like as you said, like I do a podcast, I write comic books, I write screenplays as well. I mean, I had a web series I did about a year and a half ago called The Real Housewives of Horror. Like I've done a couple of things like that. But yeah, I mean, so the answer is like yes to all. It's kind of, I am at this place where I'm just really fortunate that I can kind of do whatever is inspiring me at the time. I do want to direct something else. I directed in Best Friends Forever, and I don't think I want to do that again because that was really tough. But who knows? I mean, who knows what my ego will want me to do. So I do want to direct, but I love acting and I like writing, and I kind of get to do what is inspiring me and also what the industry is allowing me to do at the time. You know, if there's no acting work, tons of time to write. You know, and if I do directing, I don't get to do acting for a little while. You know, because I have to focus on that. So I kind of am doing all of the above. I mean, I have a bunch of movies coming out right now. And some TV stuff as well. This should all be coming out within the next year or two that I've acted in. So I would love to be on the creator side for a minute, but I'm definitely still doing acting. I don't think I'll ever give that up.
All right, everybody. Now it's time for everybody's favorite game, Hat or Pickle.
Hat. Pickle. Pets. Pickle. Pickle. Oh. Pet.
All right.
I'm sorry, is my cat's water dish so loud?
No,
Sorry,
no,
this is what every time would happen.
I don't hear your cat at all.
Like, is this thing loud? His water dish is like so incredibly loud because it's like, running water. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no.
It's not interesting for people.
No, I don't. No, that's ambiance. So your brother and you, not only doing the comics, you guys also started a podcast together. What made you want to start doing a podcast? Because again, I've talked about this.
Because everyone's doing one. You know what? Actually, I really like doing the podcast every week because it's something I don't get to do. My brother Zane is a very good improviser and he's a trained improviser. And the podcast is all improvised comedy, but as you know, it's kind of like horror sci-fi based where we solve people's paranormal problems, but it's funny. And I don't get to do much of that, and I'm not a trained improviser in any way, but him and Sydney Steinberg, who's the other person on the show, are, and they're just amazing and funny. So something I really like going and doing every week, even if there's sometimes people like, oh, I didn't even know you did a podcast. I'm like, yeah, it's not something that I'm like, oh, I'm planning on making millions of dollars on, but it's like a really good, fun workout for me to go and try to use my brain in that way and get to talk about stuff that I think is really funny. Like, I think ghosts are really funny, and all sorts of horror things are really funny, horror tropes, which is what we really get to play with. Yeah, our podcast network is called Feral Audio, and the podcast is called Mystic Party, if anybody wants to check it out. We're actually about to do some rebranding and relaunching of it, but I think the name is going to stay the same. I don't know.
Of course, this is a food show, so why not talk a little bit about food? Now, I have heard that you are either vegetarian or vegan, one or the other. Yes, no?
Yeah, I'm very close to vegan. That's I'm less strict than I used to be. I went vegan when I was 19.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm 30, about to be 35. So I'm way less strict than I used to be, but I still eat a lot of vegan stuff.
You eat a lot of what? What was that?
Vegan stuff. Whatever I can find that's vegan, that's usually my go-to.
Now, for a short period of time, you had a food YouTube show. Yeah. Where you went and interviewed people much more famous than me about just them and their life and things like that, and it just kind of centered around food. Whatever happened to that?
You know what? I don't know. It wasn't through me. Some friends of mine were doing it, and or they wanted me to do it, and they asked me to do it, and they came and shot 4 of them, and that was kind of all we did. We just did I think we did 4 or 5 meals for my friends, or cake or something, go over and then ask them questions and just kind of chat with them. So it's kind of like friend hangouts / making food sort of thing.
I do have to say that
I don't know.
The fact that you forgot about that and then I knew either makes me well-informed or a weird stalker, which really scares me.
No. It's just surprising. It's just one of those things where I don't know what happened to it. They only asked me to do a certain number of episodes and it's for some specific thing, and I didn't organize it, so I didn't feel like it was my job to keep it going.
Yeah. We're going to ask 5 questions, and Brea has a few seconds to answer each one of them, and then we'll get her response and see what's on the shopping list for today. Beer or wine?
Wine.
What is your favorite holiday?
Halloween.
What is your favorite food starting with the letter M?
M? I can't even think of any foods that start with an M.
That's a good answer. Well done. Bow tie or regular necktie?
Regular necktie.
Swipe left or swipe right?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, nobody knows what that means. I had to look it up. All right, well done. Well done. Good job. Tell people where they can find you on the internet if they want to follow you, stalk you, send you pictures of themselves in inappropriate situations.
Where? You know, I don't have Snapchat for that reason, actually. I'm Brea Grant on everything, BREA. Like my website is BreaGrant.com, Twitter's Brea Grant, Instagram's Brea Grant. And Mystic Party. You can find me every week at Mystic Party. In theory, I'm there most weeks. Just making jokes, which is kind of the most fun thing you get to do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Brea, for joining us. If you guys liked this episode, please make sure that you hit like down below. Make sure you also hit subscribe. If you want to check us out some more, just follow our page, www.youtube.com/foodnerd. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and wherever else you can find me at I am Food Nerd. Anyway, until next time, thank you, Brea, again for joining us. And say goodbye, Brea.
Goodbye, Brea.
Bye, Brea. All right. Thanks, guys.